Hey everyone, it's Michelle Lee, Editor-in-Chief of Allure. Today I'm going to be doing a really good everyday makeup look that I saw on Kim Kardashian that Mario did on her, and they called the Shimmer and Shine look. So let's go! As I've started, I've actually got foundation and a little bit of powder, and I've done a brow already. What I'm gonna do that I saw Mario do first was, if you don't wanna go ahead and start with an eyeshadow primer, what he did was he took some Mercier translucent powder, and I've already put some foundation on my eyelids, but I'm just gonna go ahead and powder those as well, just to kind of prime those for some shadow going on. Just a light dusting. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with a brown eyeliner, just on the top here. And I'm just gonna wiggle this into my lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and do both of these. These are pretty messy right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and smudge them out. With a brush. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a brush here just to smudge that. Okay, so I just wanna create like a really nice diffused look, so I'm just gonna smudge that really nicely. Okay, then I'm gonna go over this with some color, and I'm gonna grab my Tartelette Toasted palette. So the one that Mario used in their video was actually his sold out palette, which we of course can't get our hands on anymore. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with some of these colors from Tarte. I'm gonna mix them together and just go over that color, just to set it and add a little bit more color to it. Use another one just to smudge that out a bit more. And then in Mario and Kim's video, they actually used a highlighter, a gold highlighter, but since this Tarte palette is so good anyway, I honestly am just gonna take one of these bronzy shades and mix it with a little bit of the gold. And just go over that, which is gonna add that nice shimmer and shine that they were talking about. So if you look at Kim's eyes, Kim has a very, very defined crease. As you notice on my eyes, I have no crease. So when Mario was doing Kim's eyes, they talked about defining the crease with a darker color. I am not gonna do that though. I think that on monolid eyes like mine, what looks a little bit better is, someone was just telling me yesterday, your eyes should be a sunset and not a parfait. So I think with mine, what I like to do is create sort of like an ombre look. So I'm gonna go in with these slightly darker shades and just go in to create a little bit more of an ombre. And especially defining that outer corner. again, don't worry about building it up. If you want to take a step back, take a look at yourself in different light. Sometimes it's good just to see, have I gotten too much? Do I want to build up? Remember, it's always easier to build up than to take away. Okay, I may be doing these a little bit out of order from what Mario did. He also used some different products, but I'm gonna choose a couple different things. Let's see. So on the under eye, I think he did another brown pencil that I'm gonna smudge out. So go ahead and just define that whole lower lash line. And then repeat. And I'm going to go ahead and take a brush and just smudge that so it's not so defined. We don't necessarily want that 90s heavily lined look. And I'm just going to smudge that. And then let's see, we've got this BECCA Light Shifter Brightening Concealer. This is a great one. I love this little spongy on the end, which makes it really easy to apply. I'm just going to go ahead and put that under my eyes to brighten. So I'm going to take a beauty blender, which has been dampened already, just to blend that in. It's going to help just open up your eyes. And then also, like Mario did, he and Kim have been notorious for starting and really popularizing a lot of contouring trends. They obviously didn't create it, but they really did make the Instagram look really popular. He also took this concealer highlighter and put it onto the bridge of her nose as well, just to add a little bit more definition there. Okay, so like I said, I think Mario and Kim have been very known for doing a lot of contour. I am not typically a big contour person every single day, so I'm gonna try this. I'm a little bit nervous about it because I'm definitely not Mario. But so this is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette, and this has a highlighter and also a contour on it. So like Mario did on Kim, what he did was he just sort of tapped a brush into the contour and then defined the jawline. And tapping in as opposed to swiping it or rubbing, because you don't want to take your foundation off. And this is just going to give you a nice defined jaw. And I right now, as you can see, I'm 9 months pregnant, so I can use a nice defined jaw right now. Just a little bit more. I tend to go pretty light on these things, even though I probably should go a little bit heavier, but I'm always, like I said, a little bit nervous about it looking too severe. So again, you can always add rather than take away. And then putting it up onto the hairline as well, because it's going to help to define the shape of your face, and just patting it in with this brush. And so what we want to do, because this is a cream contour, is we want to take a little bit more of that powder and just set it, because we're going to do another bronzer over the top. This nice fluffy brush. I'm just going to lightly powder that. And so the finished look of this is going to be really dewy. We don't want to matte out the entire face, but we just want to make sure that we're setting some of that cream so that we don't take it off in our next steps. Okay, so like Mario did, I'm going to be doing a bronzer next. And so I've got this great Sigma soft angle contour brush. And I am going to take, let's see, I've got this Fenty one. What you want to do with bronzer is, they have some that have some shimmer. I like to use one that is just matte. So I think it adds something kind of nice. I'm just going to go over some of those areas that I did with the cream to define a little bit more. In the Mario and Kim video, they used, I think, probably about 3 or 4 different bronzers and contours, which I'm not doing today, just because I like to simplify a little bit, but I think it's a really interesting technique, which obviously has worked for them. And so a lot of times with bronzers, you think about where the sun would hit your face. If you use it as a contour, though, you can also think about doing a shape of a 3, like this, that you go along the forehead, along the contour of your cheekbone, and then under the jaw, which is kind of the thing that I'm doing today. Okay, and then I am going to take a peachy blush just to give myself a little bit of color. This is Bare Minerals Gen Nude and Peachy Keen. This is actually one of my blushes from home, which I really like. Just go ahead and tap that out, and just on your cheeks right here, add a little bit of color. I find that blush is one of those things where it's really easy to leave the house with a little too much on. So I like to, before I leave, check myself in a different mirror just to make sure I don't look completely crazy. And I feel like I went a little bit too severe on this one side, so it's really easy also just to take a beauty blender, again damp, and just kind of pat that out a little bit. I am going to powder my T-zone, again just to make sure that when you are adding highlight, you want to make sure that you are matted out in certain places where you get oily during the day, and that typically is around the nose. It's also a little bit on the forehead. That way when you do highlight, you make sure that those parts are standing out while the rest of it looks a bit more matte. Okay, so the other thing that Mario did was he took another bronzer contour and he started to softly contour Kim's nose. I will readily admit I am not good at contouring my nose. So I like to go very light on this type of thing, which is totally fine because honestly the whole like really harsh contour of the nose is kind of not so cute anymore. So I take a fluffy brush and I'm going to take this bronzer by Lawless and I'm just going to very lightly kind of contour here. But again, I'm not going for anything too stripey. Just making sure that you're really blending that out too, because you don't want people seeing the makeup here. Okay, and then one of the most fun parts for me is really about the highlighter. So I've got 2 here. I've got this BECCA one and also this Revlon. I'm actually going to use the Revlon on my cheekbones. Brush do I want to use? Use this brush, and just on the tops of my cheeks here, I'm just gonna go ahead, and this is like a really beautiful gold color. Tap that out, and you just wanna put that on the tops of your cheekbones. I do usually do a little bit right here as well, because when the light hits it, it's really pretty. A little bit more here on this side. I love watching tutorials because I feel like I always pick up something, but it's always just about like not following it exactly, that you really need to adapt it to your own face. Like I said, my face is totally not like Kim's. My coloring is different, my eyes are different, so I can pick up a lot of different tips and the overall look without necessarily copying it exactly. And I think it's also important to look at your own makeup kit too. It's totally not necessary to use the exact same products that we have here. You have to remember that, especially as beauty editors, we get everything sent to us for free, which I completely understand not everybody has that situation. I could certainly pick drugstore options for everything. There are great dupes for a lot of different things nowadays. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna use this other BECCA one, which I also love. This is another one of my favorites from home. I'm going to use that on a couple of different places on my face, and I'm actually going to take this eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to put that, and I use that to define the bridge of my nose. I'm also going to put it right here on my Cupid's bow. Again, keeping in mind where the light would hit you. A little bit on my chin. I'm very extra when it comes to highlighter. I typically will layer a couple ones every single day. Usually what I'll do is I'll use a cream highlighter first and then a powder over, because I like a very extreme highlight look. The reason that I'm using two today is I have them, and also the Revlon one is a little bit more bronzy, while the BECCA one is a little bit more light golden. I feel like the light gold on my cheeks sometimes is a little too extreme, a little bit too light, so which is why I went for the Revlon one on cheeks. So I'm also going to take that, and it's really nice to define your brow bone right here. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit right there. And then as a final step for eyes with eyeshadow, it's also very, very pretty to do a little bit of a highlight in the inner corners. So I'm going to find a color here, this one called Candle, looks perfect. I'm just going to dip my brush in there and do a little bit into the inner corner, which makes your eyes look like they are really lit up. So I've got some balm on already, but I'm going to use this Beauty Counter lip conditioner, which I really love. You can take a Q-tip, or I used my nail, which whatever, and that's going to just help plump up your lips and prepare them. I love this one because it tastes sort of minty and also it's nice and slippery. And then I am going to use this Charlotte Tilbury lip cheat. The shade of this one is Pillow Talk, and then the lipstick is also Pillow Talk. And just kind of mush that around a little bit, and I'm going to start to line my lips. So this is sort of a nice rosy pink nude shade, which really looks somewhat similar to my natural lip shade. And on a more natural look like this, it's really nice to go for something that matches your lip, but it's a little bit more pumped up. So I know a lot of people like to overline their lips. I like to go a little tiny bit over, but not too much. Nicely lined, and then I'm going to go in with the lipstick. I could use a lip brush, but I probably will just do it straight from the tube. And as you can see, it's a really pretty shade. Okay, so the other thing that Mario worked on was he had this lip gloss that had little blue flecks in it. We do not have that one, but I have this great MAC, what is this one? This was MAC lip gloss, and so when you put that over anything, it's gonna make it really nice and glossy. A big trend right now is vinyl lips, so this kind of helps to create a similar look. Okay, finally, lashes. So in the video with Mario, he used a shadow stick. It was a shadow cream stick. I actually have a bunch of these and they're fantastic. I didn't use one today because I went for smudging the eyeliner instead, which is perfectly acceptable. Whatever works for you guys. Okay, next up, I'm going to curl my lashes. And so even though Kim and Mario didn't do a fake lash, Kim's got either naturally long lashes or she has lash extensions because her lashes are crazy long. So I am going to do fake lashes today. I've got this adhesive, and also these are, I think these are Ardell 110s, these lashes. I've actually cut these already so that they fit my eyes. And I'm gonna take a strip of these. I haven't done mascara yet because I'm gonna do mascara at the end. I find that because my natural lashes are so itsy bitsy and straight and short, I like these 110s because they don't look too extreme on me. So I'm using a black glue because it dries nicely and doesn't leave any kind of white residue on my eyes. I also want to make sure that when I'm doing the glue that I get enough on the ends, because especially on the inner corner, that's where it tends to fall off of me first. Okay, so always what you want to do when you've put on some lash glue is let it set for about 30 seconds first. If you try and do it when it's too wet, you're going to have problems because it's just going to fall straight off. So if you let it rest for a little bit first, then it gets a little bit tacky, and you'll have a better chance of making this work. Okay, I'm nervous about doing this. I just hope you know. As many times as I've done a lash strip, I'm not great at doing it myself. It does take a lot of practice, and especially when you are kind of looking in a new mirror, it's trying to figure out how do I get this on the right way, so bear with me. Hopefully this works out. Sometimes it's easier also without the tweezers. Just stick them on yourself with your fingers. Success. Okay, and I'm just gonna hold them there a little bit and make sure that they're on. You don't want to necessarily open your eyes too quickly because it's gonna get all sticky and then stick to your eyelid, and nobody wants that. So once those are in, I'll do mascara so that I really set my other lashes into these so you don't really see too much of a difference. And just make sure that those are really in there. Sometimes it's easy to kind of make a mistake and your lashes are stuck. It's not actually stuck on your skin, it's stuck more on your lashes. So you want to make sure that you're kind of pushing the strip in there so you've got the strip stuck to your skin. Okay, I'm going to take the other side and do those. And do the glue. And then again, let this get a little bit tacky. If I could wear fake lashes every single day, I would totally do it. Like I said, I'm just not super fantastic at doing it every day, so I think it would be a bit of a chore. I know plenty of other people who've gotten lash extensions too, and they look fantastic. I'm just too nervous about doing it though. Okay. Let this glue set a little bit longer. I feel like always everyone has one eye that's easier than the other. My right eye is always easier. My left eye is the tricky one, so we'll see how this one goes. Okay, let's do this. You know what it is? It's that when you're looking in the mirror, it's a little bit harder to get that view right. And again, just stick that one down where it belongs. And then make sure this one is stuck to the eyelid properly. And don't stick yourself in the eye with the tweezers. Okay, I'm proud of myself. Okay, so you're gonna let those dry a little bit. And then when we're done, we're gonna do some mascara. Just again, to make sure that your actual lashes and the fake lashes look like one. You don't wanna see two layers of them because that's not cute. And so today I'm using one of my absolute favorite mascaras. This is Maybelline Total Temptation Waterproof. For anyone like me who's got short, straight lashes that need to hold a curl, waterproof mascara, for whatever reason, works so much better than other mascara. Maybelline also makes such great formulas that I'm crazy about a ton of theirs. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this mascara now. And I don't need a lot because these lashes are gonna look pretty extreme on me. It's again more so I get the bottom lashes, or not the bottom lashes, like my actual lashes that are underneath the fake ones to look like they are blended in. And that they hold a curl as well, that by the end of the day, my real lashes have not fallen. And so one thing that I was really upset about was in the video, Mario uses this really cool tweezerman tool for your lower lashes that's sort of like a lash guide or lash guard. They don't sell that anymore. What it does is it helps to protect the skin under here, so whenever we've done these lower lashes, it's really easy to get the mascara onto your skin. So because I don't have that, I'm just gonna be real careful. Just do a little bit of mascara on the bottom lashes here. If you do get any on your skin, on your under eye, usually if you just wipe it really quickly, it'll go away. Or you can also just take a makeup wipe, wrap it around your finger, and just sort of catch any of the fallout there. Okay. Let's see. And then my final step is to really complete this dewy look. I want to take this TATCHA Dewy Skin Mist, which is again one of my absolute favorites. I'm just going to do a final mist. Take out my clips. Oh, I'm very dewy. Very, very dewy. And then I'm done. I'm ready for the day. All right. And that is it. That is my complete look. I'm extremely dewy right now. I think also the lashes make a huge difference. I feel like when you're dealing with any professional makeup artist, they have so many different tricks in their toolkit. And a lot of times they use way more complexion products than I would probably use on a daily basis. Again, I am not a professional makeup artist, so I'm not great at doing contour and tons of bronzer and everything else. In my own personal life, if I were to do maybe a little bit of bronzer and a little bit of blush, that's probably it. But because I'm trying to really recreate this look, I use a lot more complexion products than I probably normally would, which is fun, especially if you are going out for a night or something, just to sort of play with your look and try something different. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.